The Paranormal View. The Paranormal View. The Paranormal View. Time now for the Paranormal View. The Paranormal View on the Para X Radio Network with your host, Henry Foister, Craig Rupp, and Jeffrey Gould. The Paranormal View.
Welcome, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the Para X Radio Network. Another week has gone by, and we are here with you again, which I am really glad to be. I want to thank everybody that's here tonight in the chat room listening, and for those around the world. And we have lots of those. If you are listening from somewhere other than here, then please come over to para-x.com, click on the show chat button on the right-hand side of the page, and then click on the player at the top of the page, and you'll be able to be right in with all these wonderful people and interact with us in the show by being able to ask the guest questions.
I wish I could, Henry.
You'll be able to. And poor Craig is with us. Jeffrey is not with us because he is on a shoot and I don't know who he's shooting, but he is in California making a movie, you might say. But we do have Craig via a cell phone. His air card is kind of went kapooted, so he couldn't even get on to be in the chat room. So if you do have questions tonight, feel free to private chat them to me, and I will get them right over to our guest. And speaking of guests, we have Karen Laven with us tonight. She's the author. She has got a book called Dayton Ghosts, which we're going to be talking about tonight. And she has a book called Cincinnati Ghosts. And we might do a couple questions out of that tonight. But we're thinking about having her come back another time to talk about that book. So ought to be really interesting. So pull up a chair and get comfortable, and we're going to have her come on. And I want to welcome Karen Laven to the Paranormal View.
Thanks, Henry. Hi, Craig. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Karen. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Love your show.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, since the book that you've got is fairly good size, and there is lots of good stories in there about Dayton. But before we get into that, I think people ought to actually know, who is Karen Laven?
Well, we don't want to scare them off, Henry. I'll do the condensed miniature, don't tell everything version. I'm a writer I'm originally from, actually, Minnesota. We came here to the northern Kentucky area about 6-7 years ago. My husband's job moved, and we went with him. What the heck? And amazing things happened when I came to this area. I got the Cincinnati Ghost book almost immediately, the Dayton book right after that. I mean, I even had my middle grade reader published, ironically enough, by a Minnesota publisher once I got here. So, I mean, this area has been very, very lucky for me. I was a newspaper feature writer for 7 years back in Minnesota, and I've done, that's why I was kind of asking about Jeffrey, because I've done pretty much everything. I've done theater, movies, acting, writing, performance pieces. So I'm just, what do they call that? A Renaissance woman or a nut, whichever you pick.
Whichever you pick.
Yeah, it just depends on the day or who I'm talking to.
Well, now, with the background, where would you come from in Minnesota?
Right outside the Twin Cities. I grew up right outside Minneapolis, by the lakes, all that. It was a really nice place. And then after that, we moved to Wright County, Buffalo, which is to the west, about 50 miles. Beautiful, again, lakes everywhere. And that's where I wrote for the paper, the Wright County Journal, Drummer. So that was, all of this, as you guys all know, it all just adds up.
Oh,
you
sure.
know, to who you are and where you go. I believe where we all go is we're supposed to. There's a reason, and I knew there was a reason I was supposed to come here, and I didn't know what it was till we got here, but I believed it. So, like I say, I love this area, and you know, I love the opportunities I've had.
Well, now, writing two ghost books, the next question is, how did you get into the paranormal?
I kind of fell into it. We came here. My newspaper job was gone, obviously, because here we were in a whole different place. And I thought, I'd actually written a couple books before that were published on like e-reader kind of things. And I just thought, I've always been interested in the paranormal. Okay, always since since I can remember. And when I got here, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to write a book from the perspective of me, who's someone that, stuff's happened throughout my life and everything, but to quantify it and figure it out and whatever, wouldn't it be cool if I learned how to do it and took the reader with me? So I wrote up a book proposal about, from novice to, that was my idea, I completely have no idea what I'm doing and take the reader along and what worked for me, what didn't. And I sent it to a publisher, and she said it's one of the best book proposals she's ever seen, and they can't use it. They needed something more widespread. And she said, would you do Cincinnati Ghosts? We'd love that. And so that's how it happened.
And then I suppose you started researching.
Oh, Lord.
When you
You bet.
when you started researching, did you contact some local paranormal groups?
Yes.
Are you a paranormal investigator yourself?
No, I'm an old lady who gets really tired I'm in my jammies at 10. That's what I'm in my jammies now. No, I'm not. Okay. Don't turn off, people. I'm sorry. Don't even picture it. It's not pretty. But you know what it is? That to me is it. You guys do it, I know, and you've done it. But for me, it's so boring, and it's so difficult, and it's so all through the night. And to me, it's just, I'm too old. I'm just at that point where I know it. My husband and I have gone on several of them. We went to, Memorial Hall, did an overnight, and with, a couple other groups, a little thing, where I pop in and out. But I'm honest enough to know that that's just a little too much for me with everything going on with my kids and my other commitments, and the overnight thing just doesn't work. But oddly enough, I did connect with PAINT, Paranormal Investigators of Northern Kentucky, Mike Palmer, great guy, and this was for Cincinnati Ghosts to get on the bandwagon. What do I do? He was fantastic. And we went on a hunt in the day, and it it wasn't because I requested it. It was actually that the woman said her house was more active actually during the day, which they said was very rare. But that worked out really well for me. And that's where I got my first EVP on my little, tape recorder thing, which was pretty exciting. So, I'm kind of like, I feel I'm better off talking to people that have experienced things and transferring that so the reader can feel it with them. That seems to be what I'm best at.
Well,
Now, some of these places that you've written about, have you actually gone there?
Most of them.
All of them? Have you had any experiences while you were there? I mean, not even as an investigator, just anything crazy happen while you were there at any of these places?
Pretty much, I would have to say no. Feelings, yes. We were taking for the Ohio book, which I know we're getting a little off, but I'm doing a book on Ohio, the whole state for Schiffer, and we got a private tour of Mansfield Reformatory. My husband and I were there, and the tour guide, Scott, and that was, I mean, of course it's creepy anyway, you guys, you've seen stuff from it and everything, but for me, it was more like I felt severely depressed.
oh yeah.
I mean, like a weighing down upon me, like I almost couldn't breathe. And it happened in this spot, and I was like, oh, I think I gotta go or whatever. And we got through, and I said to the guy, I felt horrible. And he goes, well, that's where there were, the death row and where so many people were murdered. We had just trailed through. It was winter, it was freezing. But so he felt that I had just tuned into that. But, what's really interesting is most of the time, I mean, because when we started this, my husband, I thought, my chauffeur, okay, thought we'd go in and all this stuff would happen and, how exciting and everything. The truth is, it's, people that do this, they're like scientists in a sense. They truly are. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of equipment. It's a lot of know what you're doing. It's a lot of debunking. And very rarely do you have, some specter or something or, apparition march up to you and go, sick, you're writing a book. I'll be in it. I wish that worked that way, but it doesn't. So it's mostly, to me, when I would interview the people, they tear up. When you get things like that, or when they would tell me something, and sometimes you get goosebumps and you feel the hair on the back of your neck. It really does happen. It's just sort of let's just say it this way, it's the genuine feeling. And I would get this when I was doing stories for the paper back home. I mean, if someone was talking about losing a child or something like that, or, this, or their husband did this, I could tell if they were coming from their soul, from their source. And that's what I grab onto and would share with the readers of The Drummer. And that's kind of what I try to do with Dayton Ghosts and the other books.
Now, one of the things that I've always felt and believed, that if they're there at night, they're there in the daytime too.
Of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've gotten in the daytime just as much as I do at night. But I'm also like you. I'm fairly old, and most
Watch it, Henry.
most of the time I don't stay up late at night.
Yeah, right there, Henry.
Oh dear. Yeah. Why wouldn't they be there during the day? And actually, I discussed this. I've worked with several of the groups, and they said, well, they are. Usually. That little whatever hour, 2 or 3, it might be a little more. But what they said, the thing is, they're there during the day. And often they hear from people that they have things happen. But I guess it's easier to document at night. There's less other sounds. There's less, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And something with the night equipment and all that kind of stuff. So
Less
I
traffic.
have my life, had stuff happen during the day.
Yeah.
Tons of times.
The night just makes it creepier, that's all.
Yes.
Right.
And don't come in my bedroom at night. That's a rule around me. Oh, that goes too. Okay, never mind. I'm just kidding.
One of the first stories that I thought I'd get you to talk about is a story that is in the Dayton Ghosts, and it's about the Red Room on Sullivan Road.
Oh, I love that one. I love that story. That was another of those things. Of course, I couldn't go there because the house is gone now. Okay, but it was a place that anybody. I interviewed Mike, and he's a member of Dayton Ghost Hunting Society. But this is before that. He was like in high school or whatever, and he said everybody knew about this house. It was like they knew it was. It was like the creepy house of the neighborhood, even though it was further out. And the kids would go there and, maybe party or try to hook up or, just to scare each other. And most of the time, no one went in. And then the one time, Mike and his friends did decide to go in there. And the way he described it, Henry, it's like, it was one of those moments. I just felt like I was there. You could just hear in his voice the wonder at it. And, just how it went like this. They went in, it was a beautiful old house, okay? Each room had a fireplace, big mantle, the whole 9 yards. Now, outside of the house, I should mention, there was always fog. For some reason, there wouldn't be fog anywhere else, but I guess it was not in summer or whatever, but one of the seasons it wasn't there, but the rest of the time it always was there. It surrounded the house, the fog. So that was part of the creepy thing. But they did go in, and Mike went upstairs and he was looking at the rooms and, not walking and going down the hall and looking. And he came upon this room that was completely crimson. The ceiling was painted red. The walls were painted red. The carpet was red. That's hence the red room. And he's like, holy cow, and he looks in and there's dust covering everything. Obviously, this house has been, deserted for, I don't know, by then probably 20 years. And he looks over on the fireplace. Like I said, each room had it. And he sees this little like, glass, plastic glass, clear glass thing with a rose sticking out of it. And he's like, how did that get there? I mean, what the heck, and why a rose? So he walks over and he's thinking it's just, a plastic one or one of those silk ones. He walks over and it's real. And the water's, at least still half full in this little cup thing. And he's like, well, someone put this here. And he turns around and he looks, and he can see his footsteps through the dust, because the floor was literally, it was like an inch or two, but only his. There's no way, he said, that could have been put there all the way across the room on the mantle. First of all, if it would have been years ago, the rose would be dead. There would be no more water in it. So however that flower got there, he doesn't believe it was by a person. He doesn't believe it was possible, at least not, that he would know. So to him, that just, he told me he did not feel fear. He did not feel anything like that, but I think it was more a sense of wonder, and you just wonder, how'd that get there? And, what is the story behind that house? And no one really ever found out. And like I said, and it was raised I think about 5 years after he had experienced this. So it's no longer there to go and check out, which is a bummer.
Now, did it just deteriorate, or?
It was abandoned, I guess. You know how you have that happen? I don't know whose family it was in or whatever, and it didn't, and no one picked up the pieces, and it just, yes, it started going more and more. But he said, when you walked in, you could see how grandiose it had been. You could definitely feel it was a really nice house at one time. So it sort of just kind of died.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, Craig, I know you got some questions. You want to go ahead and ask one of them?
Yeah, I'd like to know. Tell us a little bit about Chicky from the Amber Rose Restaurant.
Oh, I contacted them, and she's still active, people. So I think they're having their big Oktoberfest going on now. So if anyone wants to stop by, she loves Halloween. Okay, and I knew that before then, but I just wanted to check in before I talk to you guys and see if she's still around. And oh, yes, she is. Chicky is one of those spirits or whatever that is pretty much just not feared, but just sort of, I would say she's more like an annoying, old aunt or something in that sense. They just, the people that have seen her, they believe she lived there. Years ago. This place had been everything and its brother. It had been, a Polish thing, a German, there had been a bowling alley in the basement or whatever. So it had several lives. And they believe that, she had lived there and died. The spirit that they see, which is why, I'm thinking she might have died older. She looks about 40s, something like that. And spinsterish, wearing black, and just kind of, and what she does is cause trouble. She'll go, they have an upstairs banquet area and then a separate eating room or whatever. And they'll set the banquet up and everything and get everything all perfect and walk back downstairs, and she'll mess it all up. The silver will be all over the place. Also, what I thought was good was one time people were there, they had booked the banquet and we hear there's this ghost or whatever. And then one of the servers said, yeah, she's here, Oh, right. Right. So, one of those, right? Skeptics. And a bottle of wine flew across, in front of her and between the server and, crashed to the, ground. And I think that convinced her. It just flew just right off the bar.
Yeah, I think that would have convinced me. I'd have said bye.
I think they stayed there. I think she was like, oh, okay, Chicky. Well, the one thing I've learned, I'll tell you guys, which I kind of think most people, it's like how you treat anybody. You treat everybody with respect. Even those that have passed on that you believe might
exactly.
You must be respectful, and even then you could still get into trouble, but you have to respect all that you come in contact with. And she's like one of those that it seems like the stories I've heard, it's, she'll mess with the adding machine tape thing and have it spinning all over the place, and she'll throw, the glasses around in the dishwashing room, and they have seen figures of her, or what they believe is her, passing by. It's like a quick little thing. The one server actually saw her and was able to describe her to me, and like I said, she said she looked older and whatever. There's also somebody else they believe in the basement, which is a fellow, and the neighbors have kind of said they've seen him down there looking through, when the windows have been opened down in the basement, when the restaurant's been closed. And he seems a little more not so fun. The waitresses and the staff don't particularly enjoy going down there alone. So Chicky has someone to hang with, I guess, But overall, I think it felt really fun. I mean, just really super fun. It's just she's just one of those you can
Playful.
tell. Yeah, she's having a good time, and people they don't mind at all. Amber Rose is like, come and see Chicky, basically, or maybe you'll be lucky enough to experience her. So.
Do they let investigators in there or no?
Now, the Dayton Ghost Hunting Society, which I work with on Dayton Ghost Book, I believe they have, but I do not know if they've been in the basement yet. The basement is one of those areas, gosh, for some reason, I think that's a little more difficult to finagle, but I do believe they have run an investigation in the regular, portion of the restaurant. And actually, they meet there all the time. The Dayton Ghost Hunting Group, they book the room upstairs where a lot of the action happens, and they often have, like dinner there. They'll do it like maybe once every month or every 2 or 3 months. So they're very in touch with the Amber Rose.
Now, there was always ghost stories about railroad tracks and the lights coming down and whatever on the tracks.
The kids on the bus. I think that's in every city.
Every city seems like there's something like that. But you have one also talks about Miamisburg train trestle.
They say, now that it felt weird to me, but it could have been, I'm going to be honest, and I kind of said that in the book too, it was an area of town where I went, to check it out. It was daytime too, but it was an area of town that was kind of iffy. But when I got out, the car and went to take, a couple photos around the track, I did hear rustling and pretty loud. I mean, I live off the woods here, and it was not a squirrel or whatever. And I felt just like I wanted to get out of there quick. Now, Doug was in the car, AKA again, my hubby's chauffeur. And I'm like, did you hear any of that? He didn't notice it, but I got a weird feeling. They say that they've seen a woman, some people have seen her on the tracks, and, you guys are right. It's like, there's so many areas of the country where it's about the tracks, or it's about the bridge, or it's about, the woods, or everyone seems to have, their tales. And some of them, I think, maybe are kind of just going by on the lore of it, the legend. And some, I think maybe are more, perhaps something went on. It's kind of like what I do in those situations is I tell what people tell me. I share the stories and everything. And if they have any my big thing for the books was, did you feel anything firsthand? Anything weird happen firsthand? What's your gut feeling about it? So I kind of took it that way. And, but for that, I did not get a firsthand response, except I got, my memory here, I believe a fellow told me that he, by email, that he had gone there and heard the rustling, felt like something was running after him. He was there with a friend. It was in the middle of the summer. They ran back to their truck, and their ice water was frozen, and it was like August. And I think that's the right one. Don't hold me to it, guys.
Right. That's what.
Get me old. Yeah. Right, Henry. Okay.
That was what it said. Yeah. Ice water.
Oh, good. Oh my gosh, I got my own book right. All right. I know this sounds so sorry, guys, but trust me, you got a lot of things happening all at once. It's hard to keep it all straight.
I do want to thank everybody for being here again tonight. And for those around the world, if you're not here with us, come over to para-x.com, click on the show chat on the right-hand side of the page and the player button up at the top, and you'll be right in with all these wonderful people and able to interact with us. Our time's already, just kind of scooting right on by. We're coming up on a break here kind of soon, so you got another one, Craig, that you want to... I do have one other question that coming in from the chat room.
Okay.
It's from Karen, Karin, and she wanted to know if you were going to write books about other places or just Ohio only.
As far paranormally speaking,
Right.
Right now it's just that I at this start I told you I have a lot of interests and a lot of I write fiction as well, and and I do freelance writing and web writing work and things, and the problem for me would be I feel like you gotta have your finger on the pulse, if that makes any sense.
Right.
If I did, a book about, let's say, Minnesota or California or something, I would feel like even if the publisher didn't say this, I would feel like I had to go. I have to go for a while, and I've got to, I'm one of those too. I take my own pictures most usually. That's important to me in talking to the people firsthand and all that. So I think it would be more difficult unless it was a state that was, like Indiana's right next door. We are called the Tri-State. I'm in Kentucky, and Cincinnati and Ohio is right up there. So
right.
I think it would but it would have to for me be, have to be able to go there.
Well, that makes sense, though. I mean, if I was going to write a book about some place, I'd want to try to go to as many of them as I could, just to kind of collaborate some of the things going on.
I'm going to write a book on Hawaii.
On Hawaii?
That's funny. I might be going there for another book.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I'm going to have to go to Hawaii to write it.
Yeah.
You never know, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You never know. I think what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll let everybody be able to go get a drink and whatever else you might need to do.
Okay.
And I figure 5-7 minutes, something like that. So, Craig, you want to take us out to a break?
I sure will. I'd just like to say hey to everybody in the chat room. Hopefully we'll be there next week. Thank you everybody for listening tonight. You're listening to the Paranormal View on the Para X Radio Network. We will be right back.
Don't go away. The Paranormal View will be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the Para X Radio Network. And as I said before, if you're listening from somewhere around the world, we want to welcome you here. And if you're not here in the chat room with us, you can do so by coming over to para-x.com and click on the button that says Show Chat on the right side of the page and the player button at the top of the page. I do want to thank the people who is listening from around the world. Tonight we have listeners from the U.S., Ireland, Australia, UK, Canada, and there's always that one that's somewhere out there in the other place, wherever that's at.
Find that out, Henry.
I wished I knew where that other place was. But
maybe you don't.
Probably just up the road from me. That's what we call it here.
We have with us tonight Karen Laven, author of Dayton Ghosts and Cincinnati Ghosts, and we got a lot of questions and a lot to go over tonight. So I think, Craig, you did have another question. We'll let you jump in with one.
I did. Karen, could you tell us? You had the, I guess, pleasure of going to the Wright-Patterson Air Force Museum. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on in there?
It's amazing. It's, first of all, even if you aren't before I went, let me clarify. I'm not first, I'm afraid to fly. So here we go. And I'm not so into the whole thing. And I'm like, oh, I got to go. Everyone says it's haunted. Whatever was there, I got to do it. I was enchanted. It's unbelievable. If it didn't have all of this, there's a ton of sightings there, you guys, and people hear things. And I mean, I'm talking in the actual museum. I did not get to go in the other rooms that some of the ghost hunting groups, national televised, did. I just went around the 3 or 4 hangars, whatever, with all of these like 4,000 different aircraft, and it was amazing. They have it set up like so it feels. It just feels like it's yesteryear. They have the airplanes and everything set up, and they have them. They might put some mannequins of this would be the crew, restocking with fuel or this or that, or put a pilot in whatever, which does add to the whole feel. But it's something more than that, and I felt it real quick walking in. I went with my husband and my young son. Actually, he was younger then, probably like 12, and we all felt. When you feel something emotionally affect you, and even your 12-year-old kid does, that tells you right there too. Several things I heard about there from multiple contacts. I talked to, I don't know how many people that had things happen there, probably 6 or 7 or 8. The POW exhibit is a biggie. A lot of, whether they're psychics or mediums that I talked to, or just ghost hunters, or just, a high school girl standing around there. A lot of them had very similar things happen when they were up closer to where they show the railroad car and the POWs, on it, with the mannequins. People would feel very nauseous, very sad. I mean, some of them to the point weeping. There was, bam, from I'm okay to weeping. It was the emotion that came off of that. Whatever is doing it, I have to say that's the most I heard of the areas that the people that I talked to personally that affected them the most. I found it, very riveting and everything, but for me it was just, okay, this is, I was somber and everything, but I didn't, it didn't affect me to that extent. And I have to tell you, before I went there, I had not done my homework. Now, usually I do. But it was a spur of the moment thing because I don't live near Dayton. It's like an hour and a half, almost 2 hour thing to go up there. So we drove on a Sunday, last minute, let's just do it. Like I said, I brought the kids. So I just went through and I thought, well, if anything's really here for real, it's better I don't know. I just do whatever. The area that got me was the Vietnam section, and my husband and son, you guys, I'm just paranoid about getting lost, and believe me, people, this thing is huge. I never would have found it again. And they were walking off, and I'm like, I felt compelled to stop at this helicopter. I just stopped in my tracks, and I took a picture, and I just felt, oh my gosh, I got to do this. And I'm like, I'm going to take one more. So I took maybe 2, because I was seeing the tail end. They did not hear me, and I ran after them. And it wasn't until, I got home and looked at the picture that, and I have had this looked at by several ghost hunting groups, and actually I think 3 or 4, and investigators across, a few miles. So we had Pink, I think, and I had Dayton Ghost Hunters look, and someone, I think, in Pennsylvania. The photos showed, everyone that I showed to saw this. The front of the helicopter, which I did not know, okay, I'm doing this fast. This was a helicopter that took the dead and the severely injured, that removed them from the in Vietnam, from the, where they were fighting, got them out of there.
Right.
Yeah, and I didn't know. Yeah, so in the front, you guys, I wish you could see it if you have the book. It really looks, it looks like a huge face, almost like Grim Reaper or the Scream thing. It is extremely clear. And I like I said, I sent that around, and I had no one say that's not what they all said. Holy cow, it was one of those. And then on the side window of this same thing, in this quick shot that I didn't even know was, it's a man's face looking out, and he's not upset. He's kind of almost smiling. At least that's what the impression I get. And he's wearing one of those army caps, from, it was actually longer ago, I think, than the Vietnam War, so I don't get that. I'm not sure what they wore there, but staring out that first window at me. And it was an amazing, it made me, I guess, to trust my instincts more, and I think a lot of us feel, things if we let ourselves just open ourselves up, and we don't. And I was actually glad that I went there and had no clue what was supposed to be what, because like I say, I'd been, looking all over for stories and going this way, and my head was half off like now. And so coming home with that was very interesting. Also, I got a very interesting blue star above one of the airplanes. I was taking a picture of my son, and the blue star, and this is inside, is above his head. And I had Mike from Pink look at that, and he felt that also was likely an anomaly. So it was very interesting. It's a very cool place. And who doesn't love the fact that one of the exhibits is called the Strawberry Bitch? I was amped. It's like super.
Oh.
So I was like, hello, come to mama, I'm a child, okay? I'm a child that goes federally. But the thing is, I loved that story. And I did hear from several people that Strawberry Bitch, I'll tell you, they see movement in the, cabin. They've heard the engines rev. These are sane people from what I can tell. Don't go by me. And movement around there, and maybe like looking like the pilot or whatever, or walking away or coming back. So I'm telling you, people, if you have no interest in paranormal, go. If you have no interest in aeronautics, go. You gotta go. The place is amazing. They have stuff from the moon. I mean, everything and its brother. It's incredible.
How far is that from you, Henry?
It's probably hour and a half, maybe.
Go. Go, Henry, go.
So yeah. I'll expect a report here soon on that. Huh?
As long as I've lived here, I've never actually been up there to the museum. I do want to go up there. I just never have took time to go.
Bring your camera and have some time and just go and just meander through it. I guarantee you'll be glad you did.
Yeah. Now, I suppose that you probably was talking to some of the airmen or people running the museum while you was up there. Did anyone ever, or did you ever ask if anybody knew anything or heard anything about maybe some of the artifacts from Roswell being brought there and stored?
I don't know if that got put under the rug or if I'm not remembering it. I do know that I had a semi-contact that was in there, okay? And this person was very forthcoming and very nice, and was going to, I was going to get into all the areas, let's just put it this way. And then I heard back, I talked with them for like an hour. I was really excited. They were really excited. And then I heard back a few days later, and not via phone, a very terse email. This won't be happening. This is, this isn't okay, whatever. So just forget everything. And so it kind of bummed me out. So I'm sure there's, any of that kind of stuff to speak with people in that sort of level, I didn't get to do, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is something that has been talked about forever. But I'm pretty sure everything's all covered up on that, and you'll never find anything out.
Yeah. They aren't going to bring me to, I just found it amazing, like, the plane that, flew President Kennedy's, dead body on the day of his assassination is there. There's so many things there that how can it not be, not to mention all the amazing men and women, that occupied, those airplanes and other vehicles for our country.
Karen, if you ever go back there, or take your recorder with you, and you don't have to. Now, see, this is the great part. You don't have to be a quote investigator. Just put it on record, and then bring it home and listen to it.
Yeah,
because there's energy there. You never know what you're going to pick up.
That's right. Just walking around, I'd have the recorder out.
I'm thinking, I'm trying to remember. No, I know I had the camera, and like I said, the kid, I don't know if my husband had that. Normally I brought it everywhere. But the thing is, as well, there's a little problem with that because it's open to everyone. And lots of sounds because like they're in these huge hangars. So I mean, sound travels, and to get really, the integrity of it. I'm not sure. Maybe for your own,
Right.
Kind of. But I definitely, I'll tell you, I felt it before I even got home and looked at my pictures, and saw what I saw. I just felt an intense emotion.
Well, now when you took the picture of the helicopter, I guess it was,
Yeah.
with the guy looking out the window, did you see somebody in there?
No.
No, but it just turned up on the picture.
Yes, I saw it all. I don't know. I'm walking and I'm actually, you guys, seriously, I get lost too easy. And this place is huge. I've never been there, and I'm just one of those type of girls. So I saw my husband, this place is gigantic, and so I'm walking through, so I was like, oh my gosh, I'll never find him. And I'm yelling at him to stop. They did not, but I had to. I had to get this picture. So like I say, I maybe took two, and I saw nothing. I don't even know why. I was like, what are you doing? You're going to end up losing them because you just had to take it. Like I hadn't already taken, 70, 80 pictures. Hello. But, and, running up, of course, what does the husband do? Really, you just had to, oh, you guys know I loved showing him that picture. And he's, oh, all right then. There, Karen, you just had to feel it. And I'm like, yeah, look. Ladies, Okay, so I got my comeuppance, but yeah. So no, I didn't know. I saw nothing. The camera saw it, not me.
Now, I did notice in the book that some of the places and names have been changed out of respect for the privacy of some of them.
Yeah.
So if you do buy the book, you will know that some of the places she might be talking about isn't really that place at all.
And again, you guys, when you do something like this, it is not uncommon. And I've talked to other writers, and and I get it. People will often seem very welcoming. Come, at first or whatever, and then they'll say, don't use my real name, don't let anyone even have any idea where this is. And it kind of switches that way around, so they're almost like, do you have to put it in?
Right.
You see,
right.
I mean, you just get this, it's the way it goes. I've also had, on the other hand, I've contacted people and they've said no, and then they call me back. And, I thought about it, and I haven't let it, this one, I believe it was at the Hamel House, the big shot show tried to come in, and she said no. And so she said no to me, and she goes, there's just something about, I don't know, I think you might be able to, she said, I don't want, this being made into a circus. I want the true thing, not all, she said, so come on out. So I got that one. So, it's give and take. And I figure if there's a reason, there's a reason. If I'm not supposed to do it, if they don't want me to do it, I'm not going to push it.
Okay, if you do have questions for Karen, you can private chat them to me because Jeffrey is not with us tonight. He is filming a movie, and Craig is here, but he can't get on the internet, so we have him in on cell phone. So
I can get on, but I'll probably make it in time for next week's show.
Oh, okay.
But it takes 15 minutes for Facebook to load, so I'm not.
That's okay. You're doing good tonight, so that's all that counts.
Yeah.
So, but do private chat me if you do have questions for Karen. So.
I'd just like to say on that last statement Karen made, it's surprising me because I know there are places now who are people that are selling their houses or business that want them to be haunted because it actually drives the price up.
Wow.
As insane as it sounds,
yeah.
The paranormal is so big, it actually driving the price up.
The thing is, though, Craig, I've heard that with businesses. For the Ohio book, I talked to Sonia, psychic Sonia. She's from the Cleveland area, and she said for businesses, they're dying to have her come out, and verify or whatever. And even if maybe if she doesn't think it's there, they want her, and she will, of course won't do that. She has integrity. But it's like, yeah, it's a big draw for businesses. But for homes, I'm telling you right now, perfectly honestly, with all of my interests, I've had this all my life, whatever, no way would I go, oh, it's haunted, let me in. You know, I mean, I have enough, okay? I have enough. I mean, stuff, you guys, stuff happened from the first book on, like, insane, and this really happened. A shadow, I was, you know, my husband and I were in bed and the little poodle with us, and middle of the night, and I just woke up. I just, bam, up, woke up. And there's a shadow from where the bathroom light, just a little bit, and a big shadow moved from the left side of the room to the right really quick. And I thought, did I not, my dog saw the whole thing, started growling, and I saw it go to the same corner. She saw it too. What does my husband do? Quit bringing your work home with you. And puts its head under the pillow. So people you really don't want to be doing. I mean, my big thing, and I'm serious about it, don't you come in my bedroom, you know? And I mean, but I've had stuff, you know, happen here. My modem's gone. I mean, I actually had someone from Cincinnati Bell when it was like my third or fourth modem. I mean, they just put it in. I call her like, you know, the next day. She goes, I see this is like the third or fourth. I said, yeah. And she goes, you know, this has never happened. And I said, oh, of course it would be me. And she goes, I know this is going to sound weird, but have you ever thought, is there even the slightest possibility of ghosts? I swear. She had no, I said, I'm writing Cincinnati Ghosts. She was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So, hello, you know, when stuff like that happens, yeah. So definitely when I was, you know, when we first were out and about, I'm pretty darn sure we brought back a few, you know, but I think, to me, it's like, you know, I can't imagine, like I say, I didn't say hop in the sedan, you know, we're having burgers tonight. They just do it, whatever, but I can't see buying a house and going, oh, goody, I can be accosted in the night, you know? No, I don't, it's not my thing. No, a business where you go and visit and then you leave, okay.
Now, there's this place that's kind of in the woods all by itself. And it's known as the Witch's Tower, which is just a tower sitting out there. Mm-hmm. What is the history and the haunting with that? Did you go out to that?
Oh, yeah. Yep, those are my photos there. I think, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, I think a big part of the lure of this thing is it was put up during the Civil War, supposedly, as a tower, lookout tower. But I think the appeal is what it looks like. Because, you know, Henry, from looking at it, it's like, it looks cool, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's in this park thing, and it's across from the Dayton Community Golf Course. And, I mean, and back in the day, people would be able to go in and go up, you know, and then when you have this place that looks like that, which it looks like a turret from a, you know,
right,
from forever ago, like you're in, you know, Germany or something, you're going to get those stories that, you know, that there's a story of the person that, you know, was hanging on, the windows were barred or whatever and got, you know, electrocuted and flew off. And then the woman supposedly that leapt to her death from the top and, you know, but none of this is corroborated. I did talk to a group that went there, and they did say they could not go in. They have it closed. They don't even let the ghost hunting groups go in anymore. Forget
really?
It. You know, It's just too much of a, which I can kind of understand. There's really nice houses around there too. You know, I mean, you kind of got to be careful. But they did say they got all their equipment. You guys have heard this a zillion times, me too, but it's interesting. All their equipment, everything, all fresh batteries, everything replaced twice or whatever, completely drained. So it was just from going around the perimeter for a while. So they think there's something going on there, but you know, I don't look, it's been there a while. It's cool looking. So that's kind of the way I approached that one. I didn't get a ton of, you know, I was there when
no feelings.
No, I just thought it was cool, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, and who knows? It certainly could be. You know, I talked to so many people. I can't even tell you, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. But I'd never, on that one, I did not get someone. I got someone that went up there, JT Ryder. And he almost fell off, but it was only because he scared his girlfriend and jumped up. and she was freaked out and pushed him, and he almost flew up. But that's not paranormal. That's just a tip.
Right.
Yeah. So, other than that, but he said it was creepy and whatever, but it was, they would just go hang and, do whatever, probably not all of it great. So, I didn't have anyone firsthand say, so I just, I shared the legend and the lore, and it's a cool place to go see. It'd be even cooler if they'd let people in.
Even cooler if they'd let them in, huh? Craig, you got one?
Yeah, tell us, Karen, a little bit about Frankenstein's castle.
Okay, isn't that the same one?
I don't know if you.
No.
I don't know. If
I don't know.
I don't know if that was called Frankenstein or if it was written as Frankenstein's.
This is one of those really embarrassing moments. Yeah, that's the same one.
Oh, it's the same one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some call it Frankenstein's Castle. Some call it Witch's Tower. It's from the 18th.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You kind of threw me because
My bad.
Oh, we're just
stories for the Ohio book. There is like a place in Cleveland that this place is amazing, and it is called Frankenstein Tower. And I did go there. I at least got on the outside of it, and I had a great, amazing, true life thing from it. And the guy said he talked to his family, and I couldn't use it.
Oh, wow.
You guys, it was like the best ever, and it broke my heart. But that's why I got confused. Not that I'm not already. Okay.
Oh, we was just testing you.
Mm-hmm. I know I'm roll Henry and Craig. I've been listening.
If you do have questions, don't forget private chat me, and we'll get them right over to Karen. Wonderful guest.
Don't be shy.
That's right. You had one in there. So what happened in the doctor's house of Doctor Who?
Is this a British show or? No, I'm just kidding.
No,
okay.
no.
Sorry, Henry. Bedtime's coming. Okay. The doctor's house was really interesting. This young woman, moved there with her boy. And it was, I think about 10 years ago now. And they were renting it. And it was close kind of to her family. So, and she was all excited to be in a house, with her boy and everything and close to the family. So they got in there and it needed work, So she was painting and doing things. And she would, she just felt things. She felt she was being watched, the mother, okay? And she's like, this is so weird. So she's painting, she's going like, don't you like the color or whatever? And it was that intense for her. And she's like, oh, stop it. You're just she's talking to herself, And I don't know, she went down to do something or whatever. And her little 2-year-old or 3-year-old came up, he went in the room she'd been in and then came down the kitchen or something and said, Mommy, the doctor scares me. The doctor scared me or whatever. And she's like, the doctor? And the kid's like, yeah, the doctor, man, he scared me. He's, and she's like, that's awfully. She just felt weird because she had just felt that she was being eyed. And then her little, toddler, she was like, oh, well, whatever. Because she was going to visit, her mom and her grandma. So they were walking, down the sidewalk. And she's like, what do you look like? Oh, yeah, he had it, in white and this and that. And she's like, okay. She's like, okay, let's forget it. Let's go see, grandma and mom. So, she went there and with the child, and it was bothering her, and they're like, what's up? What's going on? And she said, well, I felt like I was being watched in that house. And, and then whatever his name was, Robbie, whatever, said the doctor man was looking at me, scared me. And her grandmother said, what house are you in? Her grandmother was housebound. Okay, so she can't zip around anymore, but she lived in that neighborhood all her life. And she said, well, it was the brick, on the corner or whatever, was something like that. And the grandma went, well, years ago, my doctor lived there. He practiced out of there because, that's what they did back then.
Right.
She's like, really? Yeah. And she goes, I went there actually carrying your mother in my belly because, for, pregnancy care. That kind of thing. And she's like, so you were in that house? And yeah. So it was like full circle kind of a thing. She was like, Rachel's sitting there going, well, this is pretty amazing. Her grandma had been there, her mother, when she was, I don't know if her mother was born in that house. I don't remember. But it was the doctor that did it. And it kind of freaked her out, and it kind of made her feel like, well, it's not awful, it's kind of neat, sort of, but God bless her. If I was alone with my 2-year-old, I'd be like, I'm so gonna stay here overnight and leave that house to the doctor.
Oh yeah.
But she did go back, she stayed, but then things were like, it was just the cat going nuts and just weird cool things and heat and just weird kind of stuff. Right. Yeah, went on, and she was just kind of the point that and she did leave. But I think she left on a note that was sort of like not all bad. You know what I'm saying? Because I know she drove back when I talked to her. She drove back, and she's the one who had those pictures that are in the book. And she was just devastated that the neighborhood's gone down so much, and the house is, boarded up and probably going to be demolished. But, just she had, like I said, mixed feelings about the whole thing, about the, thinking it was him, and that she saw the doctor that, took care of her mom when she was in her grandma's belly. It's very interesting how it all weaves together.
That's how many of these places that you went to like that are no longer there? Been torn down or whatever.
I'm not sure about that house. Most of it, I think. Let me think here. I'm in Dayton now, right, Henry?
Right.
I think it's pretty much there now. The Mrs. Davis house, by the way, which, okay, you guys, if you want to talk evidence, all right?
Okay.
You talk real solid evidence, you have to go to Mrs. Davis's house. I'm not sure if it's up or not. I know it was deserted when I interviewed Diane, but I don't know if it was going to be integrated in the neighborhood. But this house, okay, first of all, Diane is this wonderful woman. I mean, one of the most amazing people I've ever met, having nothing to do with books or everything to do with books. She was just fantastic. But what a life. Okay. She moved into this house with her family, and she was a little girl. And what they found out when they moved in was that an old lady had lived there that always wore, I think, white at night and dark in the day. She was a little odd. And her son had left, and he had unfortunately committed suicide in Chicago. That's what the neighbors knew, right? Now, Mrs. Davis was found dead at the bottom of the stairs in the house. So they moved her out, and then those guys moved in. So they knew about this a little bit, the vibe of the house, what had happened. And actually, it depends upon which family member you talk to, but Diane never liked that house. She always felt something was not good there. Now, her sister, who I interviewed she was in Las Vegas, I called her and interviewed her. She did like the house, and she felt differently than Diane did. However, she had an experience where she believes she saw Mrs. Davis after passing, and believes Mrs. Davis was very, very fond of her. And she was 4 years old, whatever, and they couldn't get into the room, Diane and her mom. It had been locked from the outside, which is pretty odd. A kid couldn't do that. But that's when the young child saw this woman, and she said she had glasses and, a black dress and whatever. And she did not feel creeped out at all. However, Diane did. And she would feel when she'd go downstairs or upstairs that she's going to be pushed. She was like, how you that feeling like you're in the grocery store line and someone's coming behind you with the cart, and you're like, I'm going to get hit with this cart, that kind of feeling. It's like, just uncomfortable. So the family did their thing, whatever. There was some issues with abuse with Diane's father, which, it's sad. And they did sort of, he did take accountability for it and everything, thankfully. But all through this time, weird things. Mixer would go on in the kitchen. It wasn't plugged in, things like that.
Right.
Her mom or whatever saw boots going up the stairs, those old-fashioned kind of boots with no legs. Yeah. I mean, so stuff like that. They knew something was going on. This whole family, there was no way around it. They knew it. The father wanted it kept quiet for resale. This is back then, Craig, I guess, like 20, 30 years ago when it wasn't an upsell point. But, so, he was like, about this. one of the strange things was that Diane went by. She was about 30, I think, and went home. She was stopping at her parents to see how they were doing, whatever. And she walked in, she said, and their toy poodle, the parents' toy poodle, was on the coffee table looking out the window. And didn't even turn at her, nothing. I mean, you guys, I have a poodle. I can't believe we haven't heard from her. I mean, they're, but I mean, no way. So she's like, well, this is really odd. She walks over to the dog and she said, Karen, something came over me. And she goes, I just felt it. I said to the dog, if you are really Mrs. Davis, raise your right paw. And she was laughing so hard telling me this. And I'm like, oh, for crying out loud. Well, guess what the little poodle did?
Raised its right paw.
Yes. And guess what Diane did? I don't think she's ever run so fast since. Yeah. She was out the door, because her folks were there at that time. It was just, well, the poodle and or Mrs. Davis, however you want to look at it. But the point is, then her dad would use this as, oh, for crying out loud, don't tell the neighbors about this, just, well, it happened, But sadly, her dad committed suicide in the basement of the house. Oh. Okay. And Diane was, an adult at this time and everything, and she went down, and he was still alive, and she held him, whatever, and sadly, yeah, he passed away and everything, and they moved out and, on with their lives. But her sister, the one that liked Mrs. Davis, had a friend move into the house on the next block, but it butted up to the back of this house. And she knew about people that had moved in after they did, and it was a young wife with several kids, and her fellow was in the military. I don't know if he was in Germany or where, then, but it was just her and the kids. And she would say to this, the friend of the other, we just hear some weird things. It's just odd, things down there, whatever. It's just strange. And she was just never comfortable in the basement. She knew nothing about the history of the house. And her kids ran up. They're, again, very young. I 5, 6, something like that. They were down playing. They would play down there a lot. And they ran up one day and said, Mommy, there's a man down there and he's covered in blood.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah. Wow. And he's scaring us and he's very upset. And it was like, the neighbor, of course, knew what had happened and got complete chills. And I'm sure then, she told her what had happened with the house, and they did not last in there long. And the last I know now is that, like I said, when Diane went back and with her sister, and they went in, and it was, basically, it's not inhabited now. But they went in and took photos, and you guys, best photographic evidence I have seen. And I've talked, Dayton Ghost Hunters say, amazing. It is absolutely ectoplasmic. It's insane. It's so good, Wow. And this is just those two ladies that grew up in this house that had all of this trauma, all of this, just walking through and taking, and talking about what had happened. And, and Diane never was able to go back down to the basement, but her sister was.
Right.
But boy, did she feel overwhelmed. And those photos are crazy good.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now, is that house still there?
I'm going to assume it is. I don't know, again, if this house was in better shape than the doctor's house.
Right.
And I know the neighborhood, again, I think was iffy, but I don't know if it was, I've sent emails, but I haven't heard back yet. I don't know if it was raised, or if it was,
right.
Spruced up, and if more people are in. Oh boy, can you imagine moving into that?
I wouldn't want to move into it, but there's probably a lot of paranormal groups that would like to go in there to investigate.
Well, they're chomping at the bit, yeah. But, you have to kind of think, too, boy, how do you sell something like that? I mean, to me, there's so much bad energy, there. It feels like it just should be raised. But then again, I've done stories on where the original house where murders have happened, axe murders, okay?
Right.
Raised, down, gone, okay? And blood appears in the floor of the Rambler.
Wow.
Yeah. So the thing is, they stay. They can stay. Just because the structure isn't there, right. the energy still is.
Exactly. Right.
Well, I've always felt that even when they're totally dilapidated, like Waverly, or houses that are totally uninhabitable, I should say, or even torn down, to the spirit that was their house, I feel that in their time, wherever they're at, the house is still there to them. They're still living in that house.
It could be, or they could have moved on. We don't know.
Right.
I mean, it's absolutely a possibility. But I'm with Craig, like we said earlier. And energy's everywhere. I mean, we are energy. That's what we are. It's all over the place, and it doesn't just, up here at 3 a.m. or yeah. So I mean, it's like I think it just depends on each. Literally, like a person, each spirit, what they're going to do, and what possesses them, and if they go there, if they stay. It's just like us.
Well, I think it's about time for us to take another quick break here. Time's running right on by, and I think we'll take us another one, get everybody a chance to go get something or whatever. And Craig, I'm going to let you do the honors again since Jeff isn't here. But I do want to say, because I think one of these things that I'm going to be doing here is going to be about like those people in stuffy shirts, you might say. So take us out.
Okay.
What?
Stuffy shirts, Karen. I just remember that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, all right. Go ahead, Ed.
You're listening to the Paranormal View on the ParaX Radio Network. We'll be right back. Enjoy the stuffy shirts.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the ParaX Radio Network. And I want to welcome back everybody from around the world for listening and staying with us, and for those in the chat room. And remind you that if you do have questions, you can private chat them to me, and we'll get them right over to Karen. Also, if you are listening from somewhere and you're not here with us, you can do so by coming over to para-x.com. Click on the show chat button on the right-hand side, and then click on the player at the top of the page, and you'll be listening to the show. And want to welcome back Karen Laven with us now.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying the tunes, too.
Well, thank you.
I love little things about it. They're making me laugh. It's great. I love this station. Or pod, whatever.
Oh, we're glad. We're glad. We're talking about dating ghosts. And I think before I ask about some of the other stories that are in there, of the ones that you went to, where was the scariest one that you happened to trod?
Trod?
Go to.
No, I don't know. I'm a trotter. Okay. I'm trying to think. Boy, maybe Loveland Castle?
Oh, you been there?
Is that in the... Oh, okay, Henry.
Loveland Castle's in your Cincinnati book, but that's okay.
I'm glad that you know.
I've been there 3 or 4 times, so it's a neat place.
Oh, it was really, really cool. But let me veer. Let me look here. It was Stivers, I guess. Stivers School for the Arts.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Because that was one of the questions I had for later anyway, so go ahead and talk about it.
Well, we really lucked out. JT Ryder, who is, a lifelong Dayton person, got me into several places and this was during the school day, which, love him. So we got to walk around in, bright day, sunlight, whatever. And this broad, her name is Mary, has freaked out so many people over so many years that it's almost like you think it's got to be a record. You hear periodically about schools being haunted in fact, I visited several others, and a couple of them didn't even make it into the book. But this one was like, when you have high-ranking, administrators at the school telling you that they have seen this floating person, woman. The deal is this. It's back, I don't know how many years ago, 40 or something, maybe even more. She was found floating in the swimming pool. They had a swimming pool then. dead. And there'd been a rumor that she was having an affair with one of the high school boys, a senior boy, I believe. The senior boy was not found. She was found floating in the pool dead. And pretty much ever since then, Mary Tyler has been not too thrilled with people being in her school. It's pretty much the way I get it. This is not someone that's kind. This is not someone that's welcoming. This is someone that scares football players, 17 years old, big and bulky, to the point that they are shaking and cannot let go of the railing on the stairs at school because she walked right through them. And they saw her do it, and they can't move. And the administrators that I've talked to have seen the result of this. Yeah, this lady means business, and it's like she is not going to. The vibe I got, now granted I was there a few years ago, but the vibe I got is she ain't going anywhere. Now they have, added on to it and renovated a little bit, but it's like this lady is out for, somehow you feel she just felt that she wasn't treated well, something went wrong, and she feels that she's just got to take it out on students, faculty, anybody. I mean, one of the administrators told me that they had a woman from Japan who was, extremely intelligent. It was on like her master degree thing, and she was there at the school for a few weeks, and they kind of mentioned to her, oh, Mary Tyler, and she goes, we don't believe in that. My culture, no. So don't even go there. I don't believe in it. And this woman went downstairs, which Mary often can be found, to do something, some sort of thing, because the administrator said, you're sure going there by yourself? No, I'm not worried at all. She came back up, absolutely shaking, could not talk, fell to the steps, and told the administrator that I saw her. I saw the ghost. She walked right through me. She was very mad, very angry. I mean, the woman was complete from one. I don't know if this is all Japanese culture, but I do know she was adamant she did not believe, in ghosts. And this woman made this very clear that she had told her she didn't believe, to, an hour later being a quivering mass of fear. This woman did this to multiple students, multiple faculty. They've had, things going on after hours, maybe like for the board members or whatever. They've heard clanging chains, doors opening and closing or whatever at the same time, which is not possible. They're all standing, around, yes, I'm a board member. And then they're all racing for the exits, which I found highly amusing. But so it's like she seems to control the school. And JT they did give us permission. He went down and got some shots of the swimming pool is covered over now, and there's this classrooms on top, but there still is this way you can get down through the stairs. You lift up this thing in the floor, the trap door or whatever. So we were able to see, kind of where that happened, but it's that place. I mean, now, what's the first thing I thought of? I'm artsy or whatever. Where was this school? When I was growing up. I mean, how cool would that be? They're dedicated to the arts. They're amazing. They're so progressive. And also to have this, Mary Tyler, who, happens to have been dead for 50 years, still terrorizing kids. It's the best.
Now, what kind of arts do they have there?
What they do is it's one of those schools that it's not a traditional, let's just say, it's not a traditional K through 12 school. What it is, they take them and the kids follow their direction. So it could be painting, where, I was artistic. I was into, I loved, acting and writing, and, I played an instrument, and I would have loved this opportunity. What they do is the kids follow it's kind of like, Fame or Glee in a sense, but specialized. But whatever the kid excels at that they have there, then they encourage them instead of, because not everyone fits in the same mold. I mean, I love that about the school, and they get it. They get that, there's some kids that aren't going to be physicists, but maybe there can be play like Wynton Marsalis or whatever, They have big time, speaking of which, they have big time musicians, comedians, whatever, that will stop by that school and talk to the kids and show them a bit. I mean, they get this hands-on stuff. It's incredible. I applaud it.
It is. That sounds amazing.
It is. It's spectacular. And Mary Tyler just fit.
A lot of inspiration.
Yes. Yep.
Well, now,
Yep.
did the ghost ever come through and mess with anybody's paintings, or I don't know, go around in the classrooms when they were in class or anything?
From everyone I've interviewed that's had an experience or been with someone that experienced her, it is not in the classroom. It's often downstairs. And by the way, in the basement of Stivers, there's what used to be, there was a door to a tunnel. It's still there. And the tunnel went underneath the city. So it's like, I don't know, 2-3 miles of tunnel, which is incredible right there. She's often felt, kind of around there. They use that backstage at, when they do productions, backstage, messing with stuff. I believe, now here we're stressing my memory again, I believe she did appear to the drama teacher and kind of scared the heck out of him. But in the classroom per se, I did not hear much of that. A lot of the times it's going up and down those stairs, and often right, before school really gets in full, with the kids everywhere, often right before that or after. So it'd be like, let's say you're staying late for your whatever football thing or, your musical thing, and you're on the stair alone and whatever, then it seems like you're more likely to come in contact with her.
And that makes perfect sense because as a paranormal investigator, oftentimes we'll go into a room kind of, I'm not in a disrespectful way, but kind of, talk and stir things up, and we'll leave cameras and recorders behind to see what we catch after we're gone.
Yeah.
So that makes perfect sense.
Yep. And and you hear stuff too. Oh, I thought my aunt or whatever had this great picture of the mist over the stairs. I would kill for that. But it's to actually get, your fingers on this stuff and share it. I mean, when you have such amazing tangible evidence, again, that's why, with the Mrs. Davis house thing, with those photos, that's like a once in a book or once in a 3 book,
Right.
thing. You keep trying it. It's exciting, and I love when people realize that, I'm just like them. I've had stuff happen in my life. I haven't told everybody everything. I mean, I think we all have,
Oh, sure.
But yeah, but they know, and I don't judge. And it's like, it feels good to tell the truth. Whatever you guys know, in any form of your life, when you really tell the truth, it's like a weight is lifted off you, And if you're telling it to someone that you can trust and that believes you. You can just get that, like I said, the truth vibe. I feel it. I get goosebumps. I get, back of my neck. I just shaky, whatever. I just feel it. And I hear back, you guys, from these people, which really means a lot to me, actually, saying thank you. Thank you for sharing my story and making me, even almost kind of the stuff that they almost forgotten or were afraid to tell anyone before they did. And that means a lot to me. It's like a purging, a cleansing, and good heavens, it's okay to talk about what happened to you, just
Right.
tell the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now, is that school still there?
Oh, yes, it's thriving. It's amazing.
Well, do they allow investigations or?
I don't know. I think it would have to be, I don't know. I think, like I say, we were able to go through, JT knows everyone in Dayton, this guy, okay? So I just happened upon him, thank heavens, and he got me into a lot of places that I certainly wouldn't have gotten into. I don't know, though, if, I'm trying to think if they've had any. I know maybe like 10 years ago, I think they had a couple paranormal, outfits there, but I don't know about recently or back then. I think they're trying to really focus on, what they're doing now, because it used to be just the middle school, and now it's sporting arts, and they're really, like I said, it's super impressive, and Mary Tyler's part of it, but I don't know if they'd allow, or if they're doing that. They might be, I don't know. I mean, they talked to me.
Now, I do know that I was with a group that went to a place there in Dayton called Memorial Hall. Have you heard of that one?
Oh, yeah. Yep. That was one of my overnighters, Henry, and I'm still not recovered. No.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I went there. I've got now, gosh darn it, I can't think of the group's name, but it's going to be in Ohio Ghosts. We went there for an overnight thing. They were nice enough to get us in there. Lovely, lovely people. And it was very interesting. A lot of stuff happened that night. Now, who it happened to was, people in other areas than I was, but I was shown and talked to right as it happened. It was an exhilarating evening. The lights were messed with. Henry, I don't know if you had that go on, because they've been saying the lights, the stage lights, whatever, there was definitely a deal there. They saw a shadow up there. Mm-hmm. A woman that is a high ranking, by the way, official, I can't give her name, it has nothing to do with ghost hunting, felt her jacket be tugged, enough to stop her, you know what I'm saying, and her thing, and there was no one there. So I mean, it seemed extremely active, and it did feel it's such a cool place, Henry, right?
Right.
I mean, but I was really pleased with what we came away with. I mean, so that'll be in the Ohio book, and I mean, there's lots of good stuff.
Well, good, because we did see a lot of shadow people up in the balcony when we was in the theater part.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Yep.
We was upstairs in one of the big meeting rooms that they had. I did get an EVP up there. So.
What did it say?
I don't remember exactly. I haven't listened to it for a while because it's been, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago since I was up.
It's cool to get that, though, isn't it?
Huh?
It's so cool to get it. Like, you're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it is neat. Craig, you got another one?
Well, I just want to say, that's not my dog. I don't have a dog.
It's my dog. What are you doing? Outing poodles here? I'm going to shut the door. Hang on.
Everything's gone wrong on my end in the last 3 weeks, so I just want to say it's not my dog. So,
by the way,
no, it's okay. You can join us.
I was kidding, Craig, Henry, and everyone. I don't have a dog. Whose dog it really was. Blame the new author, right, Craig?
2 weeks ago on the show, we had somebody on an old typewriter. You could hear the old keys going and everything, but nobody was using it.
I heard that. It was kind of creepy. It was with the guy from Canada, right?
Right.
Yeah, he was. That was a good show.
Yeah.
Very good show.
Yeah. So.
Sinclair Community College. I don't know if that's in Dayton or Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Is that? Should I wait for that teaser?
No, it's Dayton and
Dayton, Hamlet of the Blair Hall.
Hamlet. He's like a typical. Most theater people are, superstitious anyway. They just hello. They just assume. I'm sure if you went to Broadway and actually talked to people, they'd be like, oh, this is so freaking haunted. All of them. There's so much energy with performance, and there's so much stuff that, that it just seems to stay. I think a lot of it might be, the residual kind of a thing. With Blair Hall, the Hamlet tends to enjoy pretty much just being a prankster. He'll, let's say, the theater manager is closing up and she's on stage, no one else is in there. Oh, maybe the door to the auditorium might open and close, which it can't do unless someone does it. Or what he has done as well is he's messed with their, you're doing a live performance and you need the gun with the things in it. You got to have this ready, whatever, for this scene. And they had it already in the locker and he locked it. He locked the locker. And I'm pretty sure if I remember right, no one knew the locker could be locked. And he did it during a performance. So they're all freaking out, trying to get, please let us in, please, this kind of stuff. And messing with lights and everything. But I did talk to a girl, I called her, who went to, worked through that, program and everything. And she was up on the catwalk. And it wasn't funny to her. Because what happened to her was she's walking over to check on whatever they do, whatever the lights adjust something, and froze. She was like, oh my goodness, something is here. That's all she knew, something's here. And she turned around and it was, there was something there. It was kind of like a a figure, blackish, not really making out the face thing, but the feel was not good. She was absolutely freaked out. And it took her a while to talk to me, actually, you guys. She was one of those that kind of went back and forth. And she also said she witnessed, on stage, she'd look down from there and Hamlet would screw with like the fake fog machine or whatever and make it go in weird patterns, things like that, that they couldn't have even done if they wanted to. I mean, like, oh, that's cool. So he seems he's been around, I think, pretty much since anyone can remember, from what I remember talking to Terry there. He's the theater manager, just kind of always there. But the girl that I talked to, I believe it was Allison or whatever, don't quote me, named him Hamlet because it just seemed apropos. So I went with that. But I believe he might have been called a different name, 30, 40 years ago, whatever. But it's a typical, theatrical haunting. Fun.
So did you get to go to that one?
Pardon me?
Did you go to that one?
Yes. Yep. Up and down. I went down in the bowels where they do all the, stuff for getting the sets built and everything. They've had things down there, go missing, whatever, fly off the thing. And he brought us all the way from the bowels all the way up to the catwalk. We went on the catwalk as well. So, and I took as many shots as I could. It felt, what I love too is Terry Stump he's never seen, he's been there, I think, well, now I guess it would be, 13 years. But when I interviewed him, 12 or 10, and he's like, well, I've never had any. How you always have people like that? Everyone else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, nope, nothing. So I actually emailed him, you guys, just before, because I wanted to talk to him before I talked to you. And I said, come on, Terry, anything happened in the last, 3-4 years to you? And he goes, no. So I tried, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to update and have him go, oh my gosh, he cornered me on the catwalk, you know what I mean? But, I'll try him again in a couple years and see. I have a feeling, Terry will see something personally.
No,
or maybe I'm just hoping.
Now,
that's just kind of the opposite of what Henry asked you earlier. What is your favorite place that you can go back to, just keep going back to, that you just love so much, even though it's haunted?
Wow, that's a really good question. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Woodland Cemetery. That's in Dayton. And why? I guess because it felt, well, Irma Bombeck is buried there, my idol. Mm-hmm. I mean, hello, I paused there. My husband's like, Karen, okay, it's been an hour. Come on. I have to pay reference to this woman. But, that, amazing there. But there's other stories that I did not include in my book about that I felt would not be, I don't know how to put it, but I felt it would not be respectful. But some of the things I heard involved children and things, and it was very, very heartfelt with tears and things. And I thought, you know what, I don't want,
right,
I don't want people coming here and you guys know. Again, it's back to respect. And I thought about it and when I just, yeah, and I couldn't do it. But it tugged at my heart. And also, of course, Johnny Morehouse, the grave of him, he and his dog, this is, years ago, he fell into the river in winter. He was out playing, he was like 5 years old, and he froze and drowned. And him and his dog were just inseparable. Well, they buried Johnny, and the dog would not leave his grave. They would try to bring him back. If they pulled him out of there, he'd be back. He'd go back. If he would run away and go back. And finally, people would try to bring the dog food or whatever, but it just didn't. And finally, the dog passed away there with his beloved little boy underneath. And they had, yes, I'm telling you. And they had this beautiful monument. The people chipped in to do this, long after Johnny's passing, and built the thing with the dog sheltering his little boy, and people bring toys and, little scarves and things for the dogs, maybe a dog for the dog, maybe a dog biscuit or whatever. And it's just, to me, I don't know, it's just the feeling in that place. It's just it's kind of the way things should be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just like respectful but yet touching, I mean, can bring you to tears. And I mean, there's definitely things there that people have said that, could have been, a little, unnerving. But to me, I'd be like, if I could go back, Craig, and sit there and just talk to them and see if I could get something like, like a photo or an EVP or something, because I feel so intensely connected to that spot.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So that was a great question, because you almost got me crying now.
Oh. Well, now you know that the Skype is trying to mess up.
Well,
you're kind of echoing now, Henry.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's Skype.
Blame it on Skype.
Sure. There's also 3 Gypsy Kings buried there.
Did I miss the Gypsy Kings?
You must have.
Whoa, no wonder I need to go back there.
Yeah,
I might have heard about them, but not had, cooperation from, firsthand stories or whatever, but that's really cool. Are they said to be tramping around there and playing their music and everything?
That I don't know. I wanted to get in there to investigate, but they wouldn't let me.
Yeah, it's such a fine. It's hard, and I kind of get it with the places where people are at rest. You don't want. In fact, I've gone to cemeteries and I've had really good information and stories and if there's been people there that are paying respects to their departed people, and I just feel there's just times that I'm just like, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to ever, infringe on this or whatever. They were smaller cemeteries, but, right. and which obviously made it even more limiting, but it does make you think. It's not all just about getting the best, whatever. It's about, doing the best you can and trying not to tread on people's emotions.
Well, time is just running on down. And I don't know why Skype is waiting to now to mess up.
What? No. I'm sorry. All right. Yeah.
I don't doubt it's probably one of them ghosts.
Yeah. See, why do you think my poodle's barking? I'm sure it's me. Blame it on me, like Craig. Yeah.
That could be.
Karen with the E. I always want to be spelled with the I, but we got the other one. Okay. Yeah, it's me.
But since our time is running on down, whoa, back it up. One place that I would really like to had went to is the Patterson Homestead.
That's really extremely well known. And, they have, you can stay overnight and whatever. They really embrace it. That's one of those places that's, this is what it is. And the people hear children running around that are, from back then, obviously, children's spirits, and laughing and, the breezes that go through the house. And I talked to a fellow that saw who he believes was, Mr. Patterson, and just standing there. I mean, it wasn't one of those after I took I get. I don't get the right up to your face. Anyway, so, he saw that and then took a picture when they were leaving outside. And that picture in the window that I have in the book, it looks like an outline of, a fellow that could have been him. And, the place is very, very rich. It's one of those like Wright Patterson in the sense, the Air Force thing, in the sense that there's so much amazing history there. And Dayton has an incredible past of, amazing people, the Wright brothers. There's so many things there. And, the cash register thing, there's a lot of history and really cool stuff there, and the Patterson House is one of those. Patterson Homestead. I just can't say enough.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting.
Oh yeah, and by the way, I think you could get in there. I mean, the last time I checked, people were getting in there.
They do have groups in, yes.
Yeah. So that would be something.
Craig, seeing how my microphone is kind of blowing up.
Okay. You want me to talk about a location I'd like to hear about from the Cincinnati Ghost Book?
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, Karen, that would be the Hazelwood Hospital.
And Craig, why are you bringing that up? What about that got your interest? I'm just curious.
What's that?
What got you interested in asking me about that specific?
Well, they say hospitals and churches are the two most haunted locations. That's the lore. I'm attracted to hospitals, historical places first, but hospitals, senior citizens' homes that are abandoned now. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of energy there.
Yep. And I'll tell you, I mean, this place is something else, okay? I have not been in it. I did take the pictures in the book outside of it. And what happened I had heard stuff, okay? And frankly, I've heard amazing stories from firsthand, interviewed them all firsthand. But just standing there getting my little, here I am, the author in Maysville, I got to get this, So I'm standing out there getting it, and I heard a screaming that I have. I'm a mom, and I know when a kid has a tantrum, and I know, moms have the radar. And this was not like that, okay? This was like my stomach dropped. I'm across the street, you guys, and taking the picture, and my stomach dropped, and I was like shaking, and I'm like, okay, I don't know, what do I call the police? What? I mean, something's getting, something's really wrong. My husband was sitting, as usual, my chauffeur, in the car with by the way, his window down, okay? And I'm just right there by him, and I run over to his, and I'm like, should we call the cops? And he's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I said, the kid. Well, of course, when
he didn't hear it.
No, he didn't. He did not hear it. And he was, like I say, window down. And I was so upset. I wouldn't leave for a while. I mean, he's like, take the picture, Miss Dramatic Queen or whatever. And I just couldn't leave for a while. I just stood there waiting. I don't know where this came from. And how could you have not heard this? And he's like, oh, good Lord, come on, get in the car. So that got to me. The stories I heard, even more. I've talked to nurses, registered, RNs, nurses, that this place was shut down. It was like bada bang. Okay, we're going over here. So it was like 1983 or whatever. And that was it. They just were like, that's it. So when they did this, it was so abrupt, okay, that, I mean, there's stuff left in there, like there's patients left in there. There's clocks. One of the pictures I have, clock on the wall, going, the nurses go in.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, and this is how many years later, 20, whatever. The nurse goes in, and she's with a couple, colleagues. So what they're going to do is get gurneys and other, like maybe the heart monitor machines, whatever, bring those over to the new thing, And the power was out, okay? When this got deserted, the power was out, gone. You don't get it back. I might also add asbestos falling from everywhere. It is a landmine. You don't want to go in there if you want to survive. When they're saying don't trespass, people, this is one of those areas I got to really strongly agree. You don't do it. You could seriously injure yourself. You could fall 3 floors, everything, you just, especially at this point in time, and the asbestos is huge. But she goes in and with her people and whatever, and like I say, so they're kind of crawling up here or whatever and going, oh, on this floor we have this, or, and oh, there's a gurney, this, we could use this at the hospital, the new one. And the elevator door opens.
It opened?
The elevator door. There's no electricity. It's it's daytime, people, and all they have is a light, from what windows aren't grown over with the ivy, and it opens, and they all look at each other. There's like 3 of them, and a gurney slides out on its own. Yes, and I talked to her. It's verified, and the doors shut. So there's this gurney, and they're like, oh my gosh, and that's just the tip. If there was one place, I got to real quick. A wrestler, I can't give his whatever name, but he's into the biz. Went in there when he shouldn't have, and he was like, "This is bull, let's have a brewski," whatever the thing was, and ha ha ha. He heard again heart monitors going. And at first it was vague, whatever, and then louder and louder and louder. Again, you guys, no lights, no electricity, no way. Again with the gurney moving, but not out at the elevator. They kind of went over to another area. I would have guessed quick, wrestler boy. And when they came back, the gurney was flipped.
Oh my gosh.
The gurney was flipped, and they were, of course, were the only ones in there. I also talked to a woman and her brother who aren't, one of them is from the area, one moved away. He's in Florida now. Amazing. Okay, they have the photos that are just killer. They went in there, admittedly, they used to kind of live in Maysville, and they were like, "Oh, let's just go," and they were like, I don't know, 30. Naughty people don't do this, but they went in there and took pictures, and she has one where, you hear babies crying. The one saw a silhouette of a nurse holding a baby, and that was crying, and that was on the pediatric ward, and of course it was an apparition. It wasn't real. I mean, art, human thing. But she took a picture of her brother. They're like, "Oh, la-di-da, la-di-da," and he's standing in this one of the hallways, okay? She took the picture, and you see him, okay, and then you see a really big shadow person. He's a tall guy, by the way, behind him on the back wall. However, the shadow on the back wall is not doing what he's doing.
Really?
Wow.
There's no way it's him. No way. I have that picture. They had lights go on that couldn't go on. They were both so overwhelmed with the experience, and she's like, "Well, I hope we don't get arrested, but we just had to, because I put out, the plea, if you've been, not that I encourage it, but if you have." And when I heard from them, and they had beautiful shots, photographs, and like I say, that one is killer, there's no way it could be him. And it's definitely a very big being facing a different direction. So, Hayeswood is amazing. Now, Maysville wasn't sure what they were going to do with it. They were like, if they knew no more hospital, obviously that was not. Do we make it apartments? Okay. Or do we pave it over because we need more parking? Guess what they're going to do?
Don't tell me they're going to pave it.
They're putting up apartments.
Going to do apartments.
That's the last I heard. And I'm telling you, babies have been heard crying. People see faces. They have, actually, like if you go on the web and Google it, you probably find that someone was walking along at night and had their camera up towards, the Hayeswood Hospital there, and you see a face literally in the window, and then, and it's like, and there's just so many sounds, lots of crying, lots of things going on. I, for one, don't want to move into apartment 2B. That's all I'm saying.
Apartment 2B, huh?
No.
Karen, if you remember one thing I said today, carry that recorder with you.
Right.
I know, and usually I do, and I've gotten some good stuff. So the good stuff I got, I got to figure out how so you guys can hear it. My EVP, and this is to the Cincinnati Natty book. We all had our recorders going at the same time. My EVP was not heard on theirs. Everything else was heard. Everybody's saying the same stuff.
Just not
but
that.
It was,
wow.
Yes. I sat here and I went, this is why I'm doing this. I just, from the tip of my head to the bottom of my feet, I just felt, wow, it was incredible. So I get what you're saying, Craig. It's amazing when it hits.
That's true.
Yes.
Well, Karen, it's been a wonderful time having you here tonight, even though my Skype is messing up.
I loved it. You guys are so much
thank
fun.
you, Karen.
Thanks, Craig.
I want you to go ahead and give all your site addresses and where to get your books and everything else.
Oh, the promo time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on. I've got to find it. No, wait a minute. Of course, I had it right here. Just a minute.
Yeah, which ghost did that?
I'm actually here and here. Okay. I'll be at the Dayton Library, Huber Heights branch, next Saturday, October 8th at 2 to 4 p.m., and I'll be signing books after. I will be talking, whether you like it or not. Okay? And then I am really excited about this, you guys. I'll be presenting at Victory of Light. Okay, this is a huge thing down here. It's massive. It's a big deal.
Is that in Sharonville?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I'll be presenting on Saturday, November 19th at 2 p.m. and signing books after there as well.
Excellent.
My website is www.karenlaven.com. And I will have everything that I'm doing will be, updated on there. And also, if people want to order an autographed copy of any of my books, contact me through there, because it can be arranged, especially if they can't come out.
That sounds good.
That's great.
If our podcast will be up later, and if you want to get to it, oh man, sounds bad. Go to our website, paranormalview.com, and you can find where the hosts are. Look up Jeffrey, and he'll have the write-up and all the links and everything for our podcast.
And Craig's dog. No, I'm just kidding.
And Jeffrey.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Craig.
I didn't hear that. It's kind of broken up.
Well, everybody know where to go.
Name.
I just said it's your dog. And I'm going to say that till the day I die, Craig.
Come here, boy. Come here. You can talk now.
It's your yipper, not my yapper.
I do want to apologize for Skype messing up, but that's just the way it goes. I could probably let everybody off, bring them back on, but we don't have enough time to straighten that out. So,
oh, it's almost 10.
Yeah, and what we'll do is we're just going to go ahead and jump on off, and we'll talk with you, Karen, after the show.
Okay, that'd be great. Thanks, everybody.
All right. So next week, and you're probably not going to hear it, but we got Thomas L. Freese on, and he's a great storyteller, so that ought to be real good.
Absolutely, he's great. So I think it's going now.
So till then, this is Henry Foister.
This is Craig Rupp.
And we're going to be jumping off. We'll see you all next week.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for listening tonight.
We're leaving. We're gone. Paranormal View. Come back and visit us again if you dare. You've been listening to the Paranormal View on the Para-X Radio Network.
The Paranormal View.